Welcome back to NB Bassin with your host Donald Patterson, with special thanks going out to Carrot Sticks Rods, Fish Bomb Outfitters, Southern Yankee Baits, Northern Michigan Outfitters, Hooked on Canadian Angling, and FLW Canada. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host Donald Patterson, and this is NB Bassin Season 2. There's been a lot of changes going on. For those of you who saw my video here a week or two ago, brought you up to speed on some of it. Still a lot of things to work out. Still a lot of changes going on for me personally, and hopefully for the show, if all goes well and I can secure the necessary sponsorship to allow me to move the show to a bigger platform. Still a free platform, but a bigger platform where more people get a chance to listen. Before I go any further, I need to thank those of you who do take the time to listen. Obviously, enough people listened and enough people heard me flapping my gums that it got a little bit of attention. Somebody noticed and thought it might be interesting to bring a New Brunswick perspective to a larger platform. So, to those of you who listen, I do appreciate it, and I thank you from the very bottom of my heart. Season 2. I'll discuss some changes for those who didn't see the video. Do this quickly and then move on to what I wanted to talk about. As I said, I may have the opportunity to move the show to a larger platform, to the Reno Viola Radio Network, a platform with over 150,000 daily listeners, not to each show necessarily, but that's how many people on average listen to that platform daily. So definitely a chance to bring the New Brunswick perspective to a much larger audience, and with any luck at all, maybe help uncover the hidden gem that we have in New Brunswick as far as bass fishing goes. Also changes for me personally. I am running long haul again from a work perspective, which means I will not be fishing a full New Brunswick tournament schedule this year. I will be doing basically as many events as possible. It's going to completely depend on where I get to, where I am and when I'm there. For example, as I record this show, I'm sitting in Ontario on my way to California, and in February I'm sure some of you are going to be swearing at your speakers, your radios, your Bluetooth devices, whatever you're listening to my big mouth through, saying, why is he getting to go somewhere warm where he might get to fish? And trust me folks, if I get the opportunity, I will. It's a long trip. It's a long turnaround, way too long away from my family, but when duty calls, you have to do what you have to do. I hate to use the old cliche, but it's the truth. So, when I'm in the U.S., I don't have the internet access that I have when I'm in Canada. So, if I don't post a show when you think I may, bear with me. As soon as I get Wi-Fi access or I'm back across the border, I will definitely be getting one up. Going to try to get back onto the weekly schedule of doing them on Tuesday, Wednesday, from here forward. So just bear with me while myself, my family, and everyone around me gets adjusted to some major changes. And with any luck at all, I'll be bringing you some tales of smashing some California largemouth, or God knows where I'm going to be from one week to the next. Also coming up will be a new YouTube channel. It will be called Tight Lines and White Lines. I've got to get my cameras, finish getting them rigged up for the truck, and I'm going to document some of my travels, where I go, what I see, along with some of the fishing that I hopefully get to do along the way. Otherwise, it's just going to be white lines and no tight lines. But so that will be launching soon, and I look forward to sharing some of my travels and hopefully some destination, from a trucker's point of view, some destination fishing with you folks as well. Now, moving into the early part of, preparation for fishing season in New Brunswick anyway, tournament season in particular. And don't get me wrong folks, what I'm about to discuss is not exclusive to New Brunswick. I talk to friends in the fishing community from all over Canada and the US, and I hear the same thing from a large number of people. And I think it's something that we all get caught up in as tournament anglers because we're so passionate for what we do. I hear people say, nobody wants to change. We want to do this different. We want to do that different. Nobody wants to change. And yes, in a lot of cases, it's true. People don't want to change. People, as a species, react to change in two different ways. And to me, there really is only two different ways. People are either afraid of it or they embrace it. And they're two polar opposite groups. Not all change is good, but not all change is bad. What we overlook, because from what I hear from other people, is this butting of heads of these two desperately opposite groups, is that it causes animosity within their organizations, within their clubs. You know, this group of guys is mad at that group of guys because they want to change and they don't. It doesn't matter who says what. It creates animosity, it creates tension. At the end of the day, we're all passionate about the same sport. So, if you look at, and I'll point the finger at myself. If I want to make some changes to something, and it doesn't matter what, and someone gets mad at me because of it, I don't take this stuff personally. This is, I'm looking at it from my point of view, and this is what I think would help. I could be completely out in left field. And we can't forget that, folks. We can't let our own personal views come in between our passion for the sport. So, when your organization deals with something, get it dealt with, get it voted on, get it settled one way or another, however your organization operates. And whether you're on the winning side or the losing side, be the bigger person, man or woman, doesn't matter. Be the bigger person, shake hands, and walk away. It's no different than getting your tail kicked on Saturday on the water. You went up on a subject, you either win or lose. It's no different than a tournament. You either win or lose. Be a good sport, be mature, shake someone's hand, and go back to fishing. We don't need petty differences, which in most cases is all they are. It's never anything too major. We don't need differences like that tearing our sport apart. It's not healthy for anyone, especially for our sport. If there is an appetite for change, it will eventually happen if you're on the side that wants the change. If you're... excuse me. I apologize for that. If you're on the side that doesn't encourage or doesn't support the change, when it does happen, if it does happen, because if there's an appetite for it, it will eventually happen whether you want it to or not. Embrace it. Give it a try. Go, it doesn't matter which side you're on. Be open-minded. Because at the end of the day, it's about what's best for the sport and for your group. And that's why most organizations, unless it's a professional business, are going to operate on a majority rules situation or setup. So focus on the fishing. For us, with the New Brunswick Sport Fishing Association, who I am still on the board of directors for, we had our annual general meeting back in January. And as always, the fireworks went off. I shouldn't say the fireworks went off. Everyone stayed professional. There was some desperately different points of view. And you could tell that there was some people that were heated, I guess is the polite way of putting it. But the votes took place, and it didn't matter which way they went, for or against. Everybody carried on with their business after the meeting and is gearing up for what will hopefully be another successful season. So just remember, folks, as passionate as tournament anglers normally are, unless you make a living at this, it's still just a game. It's no different than playing recreational hockey, rec baseball, beer league softball. It's still just for fun. So don't get too caught up in your own head and to the point that you are blinded by your own passion. Not that there's anything wrong with having passion for the sport. That's phenomenal. That's what we need, is passionate people to make this sport grow. But don't get too wrapped up in it. Don't get so blinded that you can't see past yourself. I just, that's been eating at me for a little while, and there's times I'll admit I am guilty of it, or close to being guilty of it. I have to catch myself sometimes, and sometimes it's my lovely wife that stops me up short and says, hey, slow down for a minute. It makes me think twice. So I'm lucky that she knows me well enough to know that when I need a kick in the seat of the pants, and she makes sure that I get it. So that's, I don't know whether I should say that's depressing or amazing. As I sit here recording this show, I just watched a pickup. It had a cover on it, so I'm not 100% sure, but it was a pickup with what looked like a bass boat being towed up the 401. So that's a good sign, folks. Spring is getting close, getting closer every day. And now you guys are sitting there saying, yeah, that's easy to say for some guy that's heading to California. I'll try not to rub it in. Yeah, no, I will. I'll rub it in. Especially if I get a chance to go fishing. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I thank you all so much for the opportunity to speak to you. I am going to go back to doing 2 15-minute segments each week. This week, I'm just going to do this one 15-minute segment just to kick off the season. Let you know that I'm all still alive. And start planning what the future holds for NB Bassin. If you check out our Facebook page, we do have some decals for sale. We have 4 different styles of decals for sale on our NB Bassin Facebook page. So please check that out. Shoot the page a message if you're interested in ordering. They're just single color, black or white, 4 different designs. Take your pick your size, 5-inch or 10-inch, and shoot us a message with your order, and we'll get them made up and get them shipped out to you as soon as possible. So much I want to say, not near enough time. So now I'm sitting here basically chewing my tongue, trying to think of what to say that won't take too much time. To all the companies that I represent, I'll do this quickly: Carrot Sticks, Fish Bum, Southern Yankee Baits, Northern Michigan Outfitters, Hooked on Canadian Angling, and as you heard in the intro, I have joined the field staff for FLW Canada. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to represent you. I promise I will give you, even though I'm not fishing a full-time circuit this summer, I will give you everything in my power, and with my travels, I hopefully will have the opportunity to represent you on a much, much wider scale. So to all those companies, and you all know who you are in charge of those companies who took a chance on this unknown from New Brunswick and signed him up, thank you all very much. To all the listeners, thank you. Without you listening, what I do is pointless. And the most important thank you of all, to my amazing wife and incredible little boy. Without them, anything about what I do, doesn't matter if it's fishing, this show, or work, without them, it's nothing. So, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to do what I do. Thank you all for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Donald Patterson. This is NB Bassin. Please tune in again next week.